VP9 back with another purchase. This time, as you can see, it's an HK. This is my first HK. Let's see. Manual. Mine's the 9mm variant. Oh, just fell off of it here. Looks like a side adjustment tool for the Holosun. This is the SCS, which is the one that has an internal battery, solar charging. I was gonna go with the Tactical, but it didn't come with that optic. You'd have to buy it. Plates. This one comes with a plate. Looks like it's just a cover for the optic area. So no sight connected to it, so I'm assuming well, I guess you can just by looking at the picture. You don't lose your rear sights unlike some of the other things. All right, looks little pack of moisture absorbent material. Basic gloss, no one ever uses. And here it is. I did order two 20-round magazines. They should be arriving in a few days. I was upset because today I found out a local store had them in stock, so essentially I'm paying for waiting a little bit of shipping when I could have just got them locally. Now I did call, they said they didn't have any, but I'm assuming the person who was looking just didn't look hard enough. Now these magazines, if you see, they're kind of like put together like that. It's a little different. Most magazines just have one line that goes all the way down. These are 17-round magazines. I know the older ones had 15, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I did order a set of 20-round mags. They're kind of pricey for the two magazines at $60 each. You know, they're not cheap. I do plan on getting a threaded barrel for it. Right now, the only place that has them, they're $300 for the barrel. And then I want to add a compensator to it. I did like the long, the VP9 long. They did have one that's optics ready, but it was just the matter of having to buy the optic and then getting the cut for it, because one of them didn't have a cut, the other one did. So I figured I'd go with this one. It's easier just to upgrade, get the barrel and the compensator, and then just move the front sight to the comp. We'll see how that goes. I did have the option between the button and the paddle, but because this is an HK, I figured I'd go with the paddle version versus the button, because I mean, everyone has the button. That's all my other guns have. This looks a lot like the old school Glock ones, even the texture on it. I think it is. Like the Gen 1 Glock loaders, the newer ones don't look exactly the same, but this definitely looks like it. Looks like they just stamped their H&K logo on there. I'm gonna keep that little rubber band. I didn't know people sell these things on like eBay for like $10 a band, which is crazy to me, but it does help with the grip. I like the comfort, the ergos on this. I was messing with the trigger earlier and I really liked the way it felt. I did test it. It tests just under 6 pounds, so it's closer to 5.5, 5.42 I think is what I got after 3 trigger pulls. I'm assuming that'll go down a little bit. I'm gonna shoot it later today. I'll see how I like it. I don't know if I want to do a spring kit for it just yet. Most of my guns are about 3.5 pounds, so they're significantly lighter. That's the rear. Right now you can see that little button in there. The decocker is, or not the decocker, the striker indicator is in. Normally if it's racked, you'll see it, little red button there. It doesn't really show on camera, but right now I have it set up with the circle with the little crosshair and the dot in the center. You can hold that little button right there. It is a button, not a sensor, so you have to press it. When you press and hold, it'll cycle between just the dot, just the circle, and then the circle with the dot. I'm not sure what MOA the dot is, but it looks pretty small. I'm thinking it's like a 2 MOA, but again, I need to look at the book. I just got this, so I'm not sure. And I know this is a new solar powered one, so It's relatively new. I don't know too much about it. I just picked up the gun because I liked it. I do plan on getting some Aluma Black put on here to kind of black out or at least dull out all that lettering. I'm not sure how it'll do on the actual barrel, but we'll see. Just a lot of writing. It kind of took away from the look, I think. It's not as slick. So yeah. And I'm a fan of these little protrusions here, so you could rack the slide just a little bit better. You could do it in either case, it's not a big deal. But I noticed that I liked them when I first took hold of one of the M&P Shield Easy models that had it. I thought it was just a really cool idea. Something subtle, doesn't really take away anything from the gun. I did try the slide release on these in the store, and it's pretty stiff. I mean, because I always like things that are ambidextrous, being that I am left-handed, but even on the left side. But I think it's just because everything's brand new, including the magazines. So yeah, it's got a nice feel to it. Let me see if I can rack this real quick. And yes, I am the type of person that uses the side of the table because I don't give a damn if they get scratched. See, there's that red indicator, and you'll see that disappear once the trigger gets pressed. It's a nice trigger. You could definitely feel like the take up. Right now it feels just a little gritty, but a lot better than most guns. And it's got this wall that naturally just stops out on its own. It's a wall. It's like staged right here, and then it's that's the wall. Normally this would be the break right there, but that's where you stage it right there. And you could feel it. It's like a little hump that it goes over. Stage, and then you break. So I've heard about the trigger on this, and I agree it's a really nice trigger. And I do agree it's one of the better triggers just out of the box. I know people go on about the Canik. I had the Canik SFX 9, and I thought the trigger was okay, but I wasn't a fan of the trigger shoe. It reminded me of the Glock one, where it's just not the best, but it was still nice. I think this one's a little bit nicer. Maybe it is the combination of the feel plus the comfortable shoe on it. I might do an upgrade on it, but again, I'm not sure. I like to mess with guns, give them a fair shot, upgrade what I can, just to make them my own. But this came out pretty nice. Can't wait to get those extended magazines in. Again, hopefully before the end of this week, I'll check it out. And then the threaded barrel at $300. I know there are alternatives like the Silencer Code that are about $160, but I'd like the idea of just keeping it all HK, and if I have to pay $300, oh well. And then the commentator is like another $100, so it's about $400 in addition to the gun itself. This gun goes anywhere. I've seen them from $1,000 to like $1,299. $1,299 is a little high for this, in my opinion, but I guess depends on where you live. Some people might consider it, you know, in demand wherever it is that they're at. And for me personally, I order things online, so my area really shouldn't matter. I ordered this one online. I did see it locally. They wanted $1,089, I think, for it. I could be confusing it with one of the tactical ones. I've been looking at these pretty consistently, but I'm pretty sure I'm confident that it was $1,089. So yeah, they're like with anything H&K, they're not cheap. It does come with a pretty basic box. I did see these panels on here for the grip. I don't think I'm going to be changing them because so far I like the way the gun feels, but again, after shooting it, I might change my mind. Yeah, it looks like it's a pair on each side. I thought it was just individuals. I thought it was one set for the whole thing. So let me see if I can get this out. Yep, it's two in there. Surprisingly, this is really tight. I mean, it's foam after all. And you can kind of see how the back looks there. Texturing matches up. I mean, it's the same thing. I've never had to take one of these apart, so I'll have to learn that. I'm assuming the takedown's not too much different from most other striker model guns. And this is the back. I typically go with the medium or the larger ones just because of my hand size. And I have that deep like palm, so a good swell on that usually works out best. except for the Berettas. I'm not a fan of their traditional grip. I think that just feels fat, regardless of how well I can grip it. I'm gonna put these back in. I usually just set up the gun however it is I'd like, and then it goes from a range bag to my safe. So I don't usually hold on to the boxes as far as having everything set up in. I'm taking them to the range, although I should. It's just, for me, it'd be too many boxes to be carrying around. I've tried it before, and I really do end up with just boxes all over the place. People who have a safe know what I'm talking about. Not gonna lie, sometimes I miss the days of just having, you know, 2 or 3 guns. But as much as I miss them, I wouldn't take it back, and wouldn't exactly get rid of these guns to get that sense of simplicity back. All right, so that's the new H&K for you. Hopefully it shoots as well as it feels. I've heard good things, so I look forward to finding out on my own. Just took this gun out to the range for the second time. Really liking it. Got home and had these two waiting for me. These are the original VP9 20 round mags. They come with the tactical, but I didn't get the tactical gun, so had to purchase these. What sucked is that nobody had them as far as I knew locally. Let me see if I can cut this one-handed here. And I had to order them. The only place that had them was a place close to Houston. But they had a special going for free shipping. Well, I'm like, well, it's the same cost. I found out later locally that the cost was the same. It's just free shipping. Just had to wait a little bit. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Most things within the same states, you get them delivered in about 2-3 days. I ordered these this weekend, or I think Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Sunday or Saturday night, one of the two. And here we are Wednesday, and I already have them, which is pretty cool. Didn't have to wait too long. But I did find out when I went to a local gun store, they had these bags, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, what's in that? And there were these exact same mags. Mind you, I had called that store the day I was looking for these magazines. There you go. and they said they didn't have them in stock. Apparently the guy didn't bother checking. Good thing is, again, no shipping cost. Most shipping is kind of what kills online deals for me. There you go. And I did want these because, again, I do plan on getting the tactical barrel. I'm still torn. I did find an HK one on a website, but they want, it's $240 plus shipping and tax and all that. They run about $290 for the barrel, which is better than the HK website, which has them for $300, but still $280. And then the comp I want to add to it is $130. It's $120, but $10 for the shims, which I would want. So that makes it $130. So you're talking about almost $300 for the barrel, plus another $130. All because I wanted this setup with the Holosun already cut out like that. If not, if I would have got the tactical, then I have to look for plates. And I don't think the tactical is cut out for the Holosun. I could be wrong. I didn't really look that much into it. But it also had suppressor height sights that were really, really high. When you looked at the gun in person, they're just really high, even for suppressor height sights, which I have, you know, guns that have them, but the sights don't stick out that much and they look ridiculous. So I wanted this for the co-witness. It sits right there. You can kind of tell the green front sight and the green dot, like they actually sit perfect, which is a great thing. I didn't really have to have any issues with this. I didn't even have to adjust the red dot. The way that it is, that's the way it came from the factory. And it hits perfect. I have it right now at 7 yards and it's hitting right on. But this is gonna be the magazines I'm gonna have on this. No issues with the original ones whatsoever. Everything ran great. I'm really, really happy with this gun. I haven't had a single issue. And when I took it apart, cleaned it up, I did look at the feed ramp on the barrel. Everything's real smooth, no rough edges, no issues with the first few rounds, nothing like that. And now it's gonna have that nice race gun look that I like on a lot of my guns.